Hi guys, I'm so happy you're here. We are going to have a chit chat about motherhood. And a lot of you guys are not going to agree with what I say, but hopefully I will get through to somebody in regards to motherhood. So if you're a mom, watch this and let me know if you agree or disagree. If you are a soon-to-be mommy, I think this would actually be very, very helpful for you. Stepping into motherhood, I feel like everybody likes to step into a certain box. Like, I'm going to be a breastfed mommy, or I'm going to be co-sleeping with my child. And even I was guilty of that as well. But what I have found is that the real flex in motherhood is having a flexible child. And that really comes from the moms and the parents, because I have had a flexible child and I have had a non-flexible child. Now, having two kids, two different experiences, I feel like I can kind of like weigh in. I've actually done it all. With James, I went in saying, I'm going to exclusively breastfeed. However, I was like preparing myself just in case he didn't latch. So I was getting my formula from overseas. If you are a US mommy, highly recommend that, because they don't put all of the junk that they put in the US companies in like UK. You can get your formula from the UK. You can get it from Belgium. And like, honestly, I was reading all the ingredients from every single country. And then I would order. As a mom, we're like, no, we're going to jump in and be exclusively breastfeeding or exclusively this. When your baby can breastfeed and can take a bottle and will accept formula, that is the real flex right there. I did take a course that said, make sure you still have a pump and make sure you still have formula. And I'm very thankful for that course, because having the pump and having the formula and doing what they said in that course actually gave me the most flexible child I could ever ask for. Being in the motherhood's trenches, you want a baby that actually will breastfeed, that will take formula, that will take a bottle. How I did that was I introduced a bottle to James at 4 weeks. And I ultimately introduced a bottle at 4 weeks because he wasn't sleeping very well through the night. And as a newborn, they don't. Like, you're getting up and sleeping. But I just felt like something was a little off. And the course that I took is said, give a bottle before their last feed. So one, you can monitor how much they're drinking. Two, they'll probably be extra full, which will allow you more time for the next feed. So I was able to breastfeed him mainly, but when I couldn't get home, and babies eat every 2 to 3 hours, and there would be times where I'd be wrapped up in traffic, wrapped up in needing to go meet somebody who's running behind. And I felt such a sense of security with James because I knew that he would take a bottle or he would take the formula. And my bottle, what I did is I pumped so much to have a supply. And then I used that supply, when I was kind of winging off my breast milk. So with James, I breastfed him till 7 months, and then it was like formula, and then it transitioned into like normal milk. And then with Jazzy, we breastfed exclusively. She never took a bottle. I never pumped. She would not take formula. Like, it was more about the bottle situation. I don't know if it was so much about what she was tasting. I bought every single bottle on the market with every single different little nipple that you could even imagine. And she just, again, she's my little princess. She said, nope, mom, next. For the moms that are 4 weeks, at 6 weeks. So when she got a bottle put in her mouth at 8 weeks, it's 2 months into life. She's like, what is this? This is not mine. This is not yours. I want out. So I exclusively breastfed her for 12 months. And I will say that was really hard. She was a hungry girl. So she was eating every 2 hours. She traveled the world with me. There definitely were moments that I wish that she could have stayed home with our family member, or with Jesse, or with anybody, because I just didn't want to bring her into the environment that I was bringing her into, but I had to. If you were working, or if you travel, or if you just want to enjoy life and you have a good routine too, it's hard because because there's some times where like babies like just aren't appropriate to be. And I either had to bring her or I missed out on it. And I gladly miss out on anything for my kids. I am a homebody introvert. So that was never a problem. It was just more of the inconvenience. And like, I just didn't want her to be in these loud settings that she might be in. For the moms that are pregnant or that are thinking about, you know, their journey, do they want to breastfeed? Do they want to formula feed? Do they want to do this? You want to do it all. Just do it all, girl. And let your baby tell you what he or she likes. And I'm just going to tell you guys my true opinions. I loved breastfeeding, so that's number one. And formula feeding for number two. I absolutely hated pumping. So I would vote pumping as actually number three. With pumping, it's like you're charging. I had to like be plugged in to an outlet. I preferred the hospital grade pumps because they work so much quicker and better and faster, and I got way more milk out of those. I had the Spectra, I believe, which was the hospital grade pump. So if you're a new mommy, guess what? You buy in your insurance, you actually get a hospital grade pump. So make sure you're taking them up on that opportunity. The pumps that you can wear like in your bra on the go, those are good, but you're going to spill milk. You might not extract like all of the milk that you possibly could. So I hated all of the parts that came with pumping and cleaning those parts, making sure they're charged, all of that. It was just such a pain in the butt. And then formula feeding, I got that Brezza. So honestly, it was amazing. It was like you press a button and boom, the formula's in the bottle. It's at the perfect temperature and it's ready to go. So like you can literally make a bottle in like 30 seconds. So I so much preferred that over the pumping situation. The pumping, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I experienced it. I'm glad I had my milk supply. I really pumped to build up my milk supply. However, I'm going to be honest with you guys, like my milk went bad. I worked my butt off to get this huge cooler of milk and I kind of regret that moment. I would never do that again. Like that wasn't even an option with Jazzy because I didn't realize that the milk changes after it's frozen. So even when I did freeze it, I was giving it to James. I don't know if he just was like, this is not good milk. I don't like this or whatever, but I will say like my breast milk went from tasting like literally vanilla milk to like a very different consistency and taste. Somebody asked me, what's the hardest part about the breastfeeding journey? And I'm going to say the cracked nipples in the beginning, pushing through that. I've talked to so many girls that were like, oh my God, but my nipples hurt so bad for 4 days. And I'm just thinking kind of like, well, if you push past like 3 more days, they don't hurt anymore. But again, everyone's on a different experience with different things. So no judgment here. Like literally I'm the last person to judge. But if you can just push past those cracked nipples, there is a beautiful life on the other side of those. The first week, even the second week of breastfeeding, when they latch, you're like, ugh. You're like barely breathing. It hurts. And as a first time mom, it's so much worse than the second time around. I feel like your boobs are used to it. Get the silverettes. They're like these little silver caps that cover your nipples. That is 1,000 times better than any creams you can put on. I didn't like the creams that you can put on your cracked nipples to like heal them because I just thought like all of that gunk and stuff, the baby's just consuming. So that kind of like weirded me out and I didn't really like that. And then just the lack of sleep. I am the problem. Like I realized with Jazzy, I was waking up 2 to 3 times, maybe sometimes 4 times in the middle of the night to breastfeed her. And the second I stopped breastfeeding after a year of straight breastfeeding her, night 1, she slept through the night. And ever since then, she slept through the night. Just know that there's sleep at the end of that. Okay. What helped me push through those moments more with Jazzy than with James, because with James, I was like learning to be a mom. Like I was like, got home from the hospital. And I was like, oh my God, is he breathing? You know, I would hear noise and think he was choking. So I was just on like high alert as a new time mom. Jazzy, I didn't necessarily like have those hard moments because I was already like a seasoned vet. How did you navigate breastfeeding in public versus not? And like, what were your opinions on that? With James, like I had the covers, I had everything. If my child needed to be fed, I was feeding him. Like I did not care about that, but I definitely felt some weird type of way where like I needed to cover up, like we needed to be like not out in the open, scared someone was going to see my nipple. And like, if you're not a mom or you're just not a parent, it is kind of like, whoa, what is she doing over there? But like when you become a mom, it's like second nature. You're like, hey, I'm feeding my child. It's not that big of a deal. You see nipples all day, every day. So with James, I would say I was definitely more covered, a little bit more insecure about other people's opinions. And then with Jazzy, I was just whipping that out. No cover, nothing. If you have a problem, look away. To me, when I look at boobs, I don't think of them in like boobs. I'm like, oh, that's to feed a baby. And that just might be the mom in me now. I say rock it, girl. And if anyone makes you feel less or bad, like do not even give them an ounce of your energy because they're a loser. Did a breastfeeding affect your mental health? Now, before I say this, I just want to know that I know so many women that breastfeeding wasn't right for them. So, it might not be right for you, and that is so okay. Or it might not be right for the baby, and that's okay. With James, I would say it probably affected my mental health in a negative manner just because I was like a new mom and I just felt like not trapped, but I didn't know if I was doing it right. I didn't know if he was getting the right milk. I didn't know if I'm eating the right things and it might be making him colicky. With Jazzy, I'm about to not make sense. It helped my mental health. Like I truly feel like it helped my mental health. Every time I sat down and I breastfed her, it was like a moment of gratitude and a moment of thanks. I was like, this is my last baby. Like these tough moments. Like I didn't have any tough moments because I just knew how temporary and how fast it goes because I experienced it with my first child. It feels like a week flies by and you have just like new experience. So I would say the best thing to do as a new time mom to push through those moments is just know how temporary they are. And even though you don't think about it now, you will miss those moments. And be careful how you react and how hard you are on yourself because you'll look back and be like, oh my gosh, like it wasn't that serious. Like I'm so thankful with Jazzy and I'm thankful with James. I'm thankful with James that he taught me all the lessons that I needed as a first time mom. And then with Jazzy, she was my last baby. So it's like I was soaking up all of those moments. Jazzy has teeth. Like my kids get their teeth so early. It's so weird. But she literally has, I think 5 molars already at 12 months old and all of her teeth. Like it's wild. So she's eating food. She's drinking. She's eating what we're eating. So I was like, it's time. Like after 12 months, if you keep going in your breastfeeding journey, it's just harder to quit. And it's harder for the kids to accept you to quit. So I said like a hard stop at 12 months. I went to St. Bart's on my birthday and that was like ultimately me trying to quit breastfeeding for real. And it worked. I think that I came home and honestly, I was like kind of sad and like she wanted the boobie. I was like, okay. I think I gave her the boobie like twice and then I held strong after that. I will say I have totally stopped breastfeeding for the last 2 months. And my boobies were out yesterday and she was trying to breastfeed. So I don't know if she ever will forget the whole breastfeeding thing. But I was like, girl, we haven't done this in a while. Like, no, I'm sorry. I love you. These are yours, but no. So I highly recommend winging at 12 months because at 12 months, they're eating foods, they're drinking, they're having breakfast with you, they're having lunch with you. Like if you do those solid starts and you introduce food like early on, that's like my biggest recommendation too. The hospital was so funny. For James, like he was so flexible and he was such my easy child, but I didn't even know I had such an easy child because your girl was just like learning to be mom for the first time. I had him at like 3 a.m. and the next night they were trying to get me to leave the hospital. I kid you not, Jesse and I stayed for an extra 2 days in the hospital because we were so scared about coming home. Like they were like, okay, no, you guys have to leave. Like we're booked up and you're holding up this room. We are escorting you out of the hospital. Jesse and I were like, no, we don't know how to change a diaper. We don't know how to do this yet. Like we were in like panic mode. And I think as like a new time mom, like when you come home, you're like, are they breathing? Like you hear a little choke at night and you can't sleep. Like at least that's how it was for me. I'm a very high strung anxiety person, but with your second, it's such a different experience. With James, I did not co-sleep with him because your girl is a first time mom and I read all of the horror stories about co-sleeping, and I don't know what. I started searching co-sleeping, and all of the like co-sleeping nightmares were being like shown to me on TikTok and Instagram, and it just like petrified me. So I slept with him in a bassinet. It was actually the snoo. He just hated the snoo. When I turned it on and it started vibrating, he was like screaming. So he slept in a snoo in my room in the master with Jesse and I for the first 6 months. Then I put him in the crib upstairs. He's a great sleeper. He was literally sleeps for like 3 hours during the day, every single day. He's 4 and he still naps to this day. So he's an awesome sleeper. I feel like he was so patient with me. And James, if you ever watch this one day, like I love you. Like I love you so much. And thank you for being such a flexible baby and like me being able to learn everything I needed to learn. God gave me that baby for a reason. Now, Jazzy, amazing hospital experience. I birthed her. I had Mexican in an hour. And I was like, you know what? Let's wrap this up and head home. I think we stayed one night in the hospital and we came home, which that was like, Jesse and I were dying laughing just in that regards of how different it was. With her, I kind of got lazy. I was like, this is my last baby. I want to soak it all up. I kid you not, guys, when Jesse and I got home from the hospital, Jesse was immediately kicked out of our master bedroom. It was Jazzy and I's room. I tried to have like a little bassinet, like those like side sleeper bassinets next to me. Anytime I put her in the little bassinet, I could even like hold her. It was one that you like opened and it like matched with the bed. I would like hold her and she would still just not be about it. That girl ended up co-sleeping with me for her first 7 months in my master bedroom, like in the bed with me. So Jesse slept with James because he was 3 years old. We were transitioning him out of his crib so that we could move Jazzy into the baby room. So Jesse was sleeping in the big boy room, transitioning my son to like sleep on his own. Jazzy and I were downstairs living our best lives in our girl room. I got lazy with her. I think that's what happened. I got lazy with her and I was just like kind of like enjoying every little step. And I honestly kind of regret this with Jazzy because the girl will not take a bottle. Does not like bottles. She does not like formula. The only thing this girl will accept is breast milk from me, not even pumped. At 7 months, I moved Jazzy to the crib and I would breastfeed her and put her down. So how I transitioned her into the crib, I'm just going to tell you guys exactly what I did. I got into the crib. So when I moved her into her room, blackout, crib's really comfy. She has her blankie. I would get into the crib with her and I would like side breastfeed her in the crib. And then when she was sleeping, I would like pull my boobie out of her mouth and jump out of the crib. So that's how I like got Jazzy comfortable with like just sleeping in. When I moved Jazzy to the crib at 7 months, I wasn't done breastfeeding yet. So I was running up and down the stairs 3 times a night breastfeeding her to go back down. When I stopped breastfeeding, this girl literally slept through the night ever since. I have Jazzy now in her room sleeping through the night. She's in a crib. And the second that girl is out of the crib, she will be able to come back down and learn to co-sleep with Jesse and I, because that's what we did with James and it's perfection. I loved sleeping with my parents when I was young. So it's just like an attachment and it's something that I always want them to know. I want them to feel safe. I'm pro attachment. You will have conversations with people that are against attachment. But I think in the beginning years, I just want them to think like that's their safe place. You're always welcome with me. I have only heard one other person speak about this, and I want to talk about this because I feel like somebody can relate to me. Or going into your motherhood journey, you will realize like, oh, if I have these feelings, it might not be the end of the world. So I want to talk about postpartum depression. I was so hypersensitive and hyper focused on my husband's relationship with our newborn child. I was just so upset that he didn't have the same like giggly, warm, bubbly feelings for our newborn that I did. And I would be like, let's bathe our newborn baby. Like, come do it with me. It'll be like a fun little activity. And he would look at me and he finally said like, I don't get joy from this. My world crumbled, literally, when he said that. And I was like, oh my God, did I have a baby with Jesse? And like, we shouldn't have had babies. Like, we had been together for 15 years at this point. But Jesse thrives. And I mean thrives like Jesse is the primary parent to my son. So before I talk all this shit, I want you guys to know he is the main primary parent for my son, 100%. However, when my son was born, he did not get the joy that I got out of that newborn stage. And I judged him so hard for it. And I never fully sat down and had that conversation with him until James was 2 years old. And then I could kind of go back and be like, hey, that really upset me. I was not good during my postpartum experience because I literally thought that I had made a mistake having a baby with somebody who's just not present, not in the game, and doesn't want to be in the game. I was so wrong for that. He takes care of me. He takes care of the babies in the newborn stage. Do not think that he's not. I'm just a really tough cookie too. I'm judging because the second that my son turned 1, started walking, started talking, started eating food, my husband and their relationship took off. Again, to a point where I'm the secondary parent now. Even I'm seeing it now with my little daughter. She's 14 months and these two are like this. Now to a point where sometimes I'll be holding her and I'm so used to her reaching for mommy and her wanting mommy that she reached for him the other day and I was like, oh no. Oh no, girl. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. I want them to have such an amazing bond with their dad. I'm so thankful that I actually have the partner and the dad because he thrives the second that they turn 1 and he does swimming with them, all the activities, the toys, this, that. He's playing with them nonstop. I feel like my husband naturally is still a child at heart and I think that's why he does so well the second they turn 1. And I see that. I see every little kid gravitates towards my husband. It's kind of crazy. And it does make me jealous. My nieces, Jesse's such the fun adult with kids now. If you're like me, where you are judging your husband or your partner or whoever you had that baby with, and you're like, why aren't they so obsessed with the everyday motions like I am? Try not to judge because people thrive in different seasons and different ages with the children. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week for the next episode. If you guys love this episode, make sure that you share, make sure you give me a comment. Let me know what you want me to talk more about, and we can go from there.